Apologies for the stream crash. My internet connection is not fantastic, but we carry on. So we were just talking about the esports segment. We're talking about the ANZ Pro League, and how last week we had Wildcard playing for the first time under their new organisation, coming out of an organisation coming from America, and there was an upset. Oddity beat them on one map. Which was a pretty impressive result for Oddity. I think they hadn't been looking quite so hot maybe after some rough performances in Six Masters, so they did have a good performance on LAN against Fnatic, despite losing. So I think a lot of people are impressed by Oddity at the moment. Fnatic also managed to take victories against Mindfreak, who was their opponent, and we saw Cryptic defeat Sinister, and there was also a draw between those teams. Well, sorry, no, I think they traded maps, right? Yeah, that's right. Sinister got one map, and Cryptic got one map.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess since we're talking about last week, anything you guys want to say about where you think some of these teams are at based on those performances?
Look, I'm just gonna say that I am pleasantly surprised by how Oddity performed so far. Managed to get to first place, and this could be actually one of the bigger upsets that could happen during this season and just ANZ Pro League in general, because usually we're so used to seeing like Orgless and Orgless and Wildcard, no, Orgless and Fnatic, usually making it to APAC LAN and being the ANZ representatives, and now having some fresh blood to potentially come into APAC LAN. I'm honestly quite excited.
Yeah, I think Oddity have really done themselves a favor on this one, putting themselves in the first place. And I feel like, maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but I feel like the way that the matches went last week, I feel like have created this week is going to be so exciting.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much pressure, and it's going to be crazy for all of these teams.
Yeah, I agree. And let's touch on what matches are happening this week. So, one thing that, since we've got the graphic up for those watching, one thing that to keep in mind is the fact that two of these teams have played 10 matches, whereas the other teams have played 8 matches. So Oddity and Mindfreak, they only have one more match to play, which is, 2 best of ones to play against the same team. So Oddity next week are going up against Fury, and I think most people would assume that they would win that, right? First place on the leaderboard versus last place. So Oddity, assuming that happens, and they can end up on 26 points. That's the maximum from here on out. Whereas Fnatic and Wildcard, who are the ones that Oddity have got to be worried about, they both have 2 matches to go. And one of those matches is actually against each other, Fnatic Wildcard, which is going to be a crazy game next week. And I think that is the one to watch out for most people. Like, if there's any time where we're going to be flooding the chat with support, it's absolutely going to be for that game, because
that game is tomorrow night. That's how close.
Yeah. And I mean, it's difficult to say when you have a round robin format, what is the game that determines a team's place, because the format is about consistency throughout a whole season. But that game last weekend, Oddity Wildcard, that could really be Wildcard's down now. They if they don't perform this week, then that could be them out. So the matches upcoming this week, Fnatic Wildcard's the big one, but even matches like Wildcard Cryptic and Fury, Fnatic versus Sinister and Oddity versus Fury, these ones are going to be heavily impactful on those top 2 placings which go to APAC finals. So I want to know, do you guys have any inkling, any feeling in deep down inside of which 2 teams are going to get that? And are we going to see the same old Fnatic Wildcard head to LAN, or is it Oddity's chance to potentially have a stab?
Sky, actually, how about you first?
I think Oddity have done it, to be completely honest. I mean, they've got a tough matchup against Fury, but I mean, showing how they played last week against Wildcard is really impressive, and I don't think by any means Fury are going to make it easy for them, but I feel like there's a very high chance we will be seeing Oddity at LAN.
Yeah, for me, it's essentially, I feel that, correct me if I'm wrong as well, boys, if Oddity actually draws out on both of those maps against Fury, or draws out on at least one of them, I think Wildcard might still be able to surpass them.
So I'm pretty. Even if Oddity wins both maps, and Wildcard can still surpass them, because even if Oddity gets, so this is the way I worked it out, right? Let's assume best case scenario for Oddity, they win both games against Fury, and they'll be on 26 points because it's 3 points a point win. 26. Wildcard are 9 points behind, but they have a possible 12 points that they can get, which is 6 against Fnatic and 6 against Cryptic. So let's assume pretty safe for Wildcard as well. Let's assume, and I know the Cryptic people out there aren't going to be happy with this, but let's assume that Wildcard beat Cryptic on both maps and they get 6 points from that. So there'll be a 3-point difference between Oddity and Wildcard. If Wildcard win either one of the games against Fnatic, then they will be on the same number of points as Oddity. And
from there kicks in the head-to-head.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they won the head.
Sorry.
Actually, no, they would lose a head-to-head, wouldn't they? Because Wildcard, well, the result last week, right, was 1 map draw and 1 map to Oddity. So even if Wildcard and Oddity draw, Oddity get the spot. So if you think about it, if Oddity win both their games, Wildcard has to win 3 of their games next week and draw or win the other one. Like, if they lose any game next week against Cryptic or Fnatic, if they lose, they can't go to LAN. Holy crap.
Yeah, I'm honestly, it's a bit of a double-edged feeling for me, because on one hand, it's a sad point because Wildcard the roster itself just got acquired by the org, and for them not to make it to the APAC LAN is going to be a bit of a sour feeling. But at the same time, having Oddity now being exposed to more international experience is a huge boost for the ANZ scene in general, because Oddity, even if, like, call it worst case scenario at APAC LAN, which I quite honestly doubt, they'll get absolutely bulldozed and first rounded. They still get to scrim all the international teams. They still get to soak in all of that other play styles that other sub-regions have, and coming back, they will be able to modify their plays, which in the long run would affect the whole of the ANZ meta and would change it around. Because what happened with Fnatic when they started going to the international events? What happened with when August, now Wildcard, started going to the APAC lands? They were all still bringing in the experience, one way or another.
Yeah, and with Oddity, right, I know for a fact that they scrim CAG. They scrim Cyclops, who's one of the best teams out of Japan right now. So if they go into playing, let's say they come up against CAG, or they come up against another Japanese team, they'll have learned a lot about the meta that those teams are familiar with. So, and Oddity, right, they had a really good performance on LAN, their first ever LAN, Six Masters 2019 at Melbourne Esports Open, and they almost beat Fnatic in the quarterfinals. So Oddity, despite having very little LAN experience, they only have one player on that team who's been to LANs in the past. They really came out on top on LAN against Fnatic, who we know is currently the best team in ANZ. And Oddity also have familiarity with some Asian teams. So if they make it there, they certainly could. Now, I do want to point out, I did say that Wildcard have to win 3 and draw 1 at minimum to make it next week. That's in order to beat Oddity. They could make it alongside Oddity if Fnatic don't get enough points. That's another thing that we didn't talk about. So that's why
that could happen as well.
That's why the Wildcard Fnatic game next week is so important, because like even if they don't get points off of their opponent Cryptic, like Fnatic also have to play against, like it's just Sinister. As high stakes Fnatic, right? Yeah, Fnatic have got to beat Sinister. Like, they got to get as much points. They got to get the full 6 there. Wildcard have to get the full 6 against Cryptic, and then it's going to come down between Fnatic and Wildcard. If Fnatic draws at least one of those, then yeah, they get it. If they both draw one, and then Wildcard wins one, then Wildcard will be above. Oof. So, and if they trade maps, then Fnatic makes it. So Wildcard has to win 1, draw 1 against Fnatic. If Fnatic beats Sinister 2-0, man, you can see the cogs turning in my head, like all the permutations are going through. It's like that meme where there's like the guy sitting there and like all the numbers are coming down the screen. Yeah. Oh, just thinking about it.
the amount of possibilities that could happen, and the amount of just upsets that could happen starting from tomorrow is just amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
And that's the thing, right? If we haven't even addressed the fact that maybe Sinister will upset Fnatic, maybe Cryptic will upset Wildcard, maybe Fury could upset Oddity. All of those games, which we're kind of writing off, they have the potential to have a huge impact on those teams. So, last week, Wildcard, their match, I saw Ethan tweet something saying the pressure got to us when they lost to Oddity. Imagine what the pressure's going to be now. Because they're on the verge of not making a LAN right after they get picked up. We saw the same thing from Cloud9 when they got picked up. They didn't perform as well. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy week. And the thing that's really great about it is every single team in the league has an exciting storyline. Like for Cryptic, Sinister, Fury, the ones at the bottom, they're the ones who can break the dreams of those teams trying to make LAN. If they can get maps off of Fnatic and Wildcard and Oddity.
And they're trying to avoid relegation as well.
Exactly. We're not even taking that into account. So I want to know, like, is there any prophesizing part within you guys where you're starting to get an inkling about which team's gonna have it in their hands?
I mean, honestly, like, off the top of my head, I do think that Fnatic won't let it slip away. Mm-hmm. So I'm somewhat slowly starting to incline towards Oddity Fnatic going to APAC LAN. But I'm not excluding the fact that Wildcard might make an absolute comeback now that the curse of the first day under the new org has passed. They can just start playing out the usual game. They already managed to beat Fnatic. Pretty much the whole NZ scene knows that Fnatic are not immortal, even within their own region. This is the prime time.
I'm pretty sure that if Wildcard win and draw against Fnatic, and then all of Oddity, Fnatic, Wildcard win their matches against the lower teams, I think that's the only way where Fnatic and Wildcard both go. Because Fnatic will be tied for points with Oddity, and they'll win the head-to-head.
Oof.
I'm pretty sure they win the head-to-head, right? I'd have to get my book out to see the results, but yeah. I don't know, Sky, any final thoughts there?
So interesting, because like you look at the storylines and you look at who has the most to lose, and you've got Fnatic who have made pretty much every LAN in ANZ for the last ages. You've got Wildcard who have just been picked up. They obviously, the last thing they want is to not make LAN, and look at Oddity who, I guess in a way they have they have nothing to lose, but like they haven't. I don't know, like they haven't been to a Pro League LAN before, so, well, their lineup at least. So it's interesting.
A lot of potential.
They have been to Six Masters, however.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for upsets and a lot of. I'm just seeing it right now. There are hearts going to be broken.
And one way or another.
And it could be the up and comers of Oddity. It could be the mainstays of Wildcard, or it could be the giants of Fnatic. It could be any of those. And like hell, there's still a chance for Mindfreak to get their head back in the game. I don't think that there's a possibility they can. If Fnatic loses, they can't do it. If Fnatic and Wildcard draw both games. They still won't. Mindfreak will get beaten by head-to-head by Fnatic. So I don't think Mindfreak can make it, but man, there's just so much potential there.
Yeah, there's still there's plentiful amount of possibilities for it, and yeah.
I'm just going to touch
Twitch.tv/Rainbow6.
That's it. And
tomorrow.
You know what else is on that channel is EU Pro League, North American Pro League, and Latin American Pro League, which are starting up again this week. On the 20th,
that is the more important one.
Obviously, ANZ is the most important. We also haven't talked about the other APAC regions, but I don't have a graphic for all those. So definitely tune into Japan and Korea. I mean, it's pretty much a staple that Cloud9's going to make out of Korea. The Southeast Asia teams are already finalized, Airwolf and Xavier, but Japan, I think, is where a lot of people will also be eager to await those results. Europe is starting again. North America, this is all happening tonight, our time, so the 23rd, which is Monday, today, tonight, Australian time, and then 25th, Latin America, North America, and then the 27th again for EU and Latin America. So this is a crazy week full of esports, and I'm impressed if anyone can watch it all, because I know I can't. I have to cast this, and I still can't watch all the other regions. So there's no shortage
Watch
of
while
games.
casting.
Yes, yeah. You're casting one match, and you've got like another match from last night, like on the background next to you. All right, let's tie up esports. Sky, what have we got in the community world?
Yeah, so first up in the community world, we have got a cool piece of content that I saw CGG make, and it's This Week in Siege, in case you missed it. And it's sort of just a roundup, because as you mentioned before, Dev, both Dev, Cthulhu, you guys sort of work in the field, and like you guys admit, like nobody has time to watch everything. So I feel like this is a really good way to sort of get all of that information in one sort of easy consumable bite. And I've taken a read of it. It's quite interesting. It doesn't focus specifically on APAC, but it focuses more on a worldwide scale. It also showcases some stuff you might not have heard of, some more sort of small level leagues and that sort of thing, including with graphics, and it really makes it really easy to consume and look over. And I just found it. I think it's a really cool piece of content that I will certainly be keeping to date with into the future. Next thing is the Cosplay Pan Creative Spotlight, which I thought this was really cool. This Creative Spotlight number 6, Dev there showcasing his wonderful cosplay on screen. Every time, I think it's so awesome that Ubisoft showcase this sort of stuff. If you want to actually look and read the full interview, you can go to the Rainbow Six website, click on news, and then click the community tab, and you'll be able to read through this article. There's some really cool stuff. They talk about sort of why he likes cosplaying, how to get into cosplaying, what's your favorite operator, just some really cool questions. One of my favorite shots has to be the Blackbeard shot with the added smoke. It looks really, really cool. I think we'll transfer onto it soon. There you go. And you can just see the effort that that cosplayers sort of put into their work. I'm interested to hear sort of your favorite piece on this page, if you will, Devin Cthulhu.
I'd have to say my favorite one from Cosplay Pan would be the Kaid cosplay. I saw it on a fair few times. I think he was rocking it at the rally, if I'm not mistaken. And as well as some of his recent ones, cosplaying as Nomad from Ghost Recon, all of them have been on point. And the man is an absolute just legend. He's very nice to chat with on Twitter and stuff. So yeah, I'm 10 out of 10.
The thing I want to know, between the K and the Blackbeard cosplay, I want to know, did he dye... It was his beard white and he dyed it brown? Or was his beard originally brown and he dyed it white? That's what I want to know. What is the original beard color? But, I mean, like, it's fantastic. Cosplay Pan, very talented and very, very nice as well.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the shots, I think what's really underappreciated when we look at cosplayers is the photography that goes into behind it, and even the post-processing with the smoke and whatever it is. There's a huge amount of effort there. So yeah, it's fantastic. Really talented person.
Indeed. We're now going to move on to the host pick of the week, starting with Cthulhu.
Yes, so for me, my top pick was the photo of one of our ANZ's local cosplayers, Eric. I always butcher it up, but he was cosplaying as Fuse during Ubisoft Experience and took a fantastic shot with, I believe, Jasmine May. No, wait. Pocket Valkyrie cosplay, pardon. Jasmine May was the one who took the photo, but the overall just setting is just the dialogue of Nook being quiet as usual, and then just Fuse, yeah, trust me, this will work, everything's fine, the hostage will be completely safe. That's like every Fuse main's last word, and I can confirm because I used to be one. Actually, as a matter of fact, back a while ago, I got into a very heated argument with Chief, who used to be back then manager of Atletico, and told him, watch me as a certified Fuse main, I'll show you how to properly use him, on full seriousness, I rappel up to the window of CEO office at bank and proceed to chuck in a cluster charge. And only after I press the button, I realized that I've done goofed, and
it's hostage
was already resting in the heaven.
Oh man, rip the hostage. 2015 to 2019.
So it's the Fuse main brains. They just home in onto a hostage, and just no matter what, you only realize your mistake only after you pull the trigger.
I actually love the Nook cosplay here as well. Like,
I love it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so good. It's so creepy as well. It's great.
Yeah, and then Batman eyes add extra to it. How about yourselves, gentlemen? What's your host picks?
Scott? Yeah, my host pick is going to be the CGG Ember Rise analysis, and this includes pro players Kazeka, Redeemer, and Shoke. So it's really cool to see that we're sort of getting lots of regions here, mixing it up. And again, this is an opinion piece, so obviously it's opinionated. And it's sort of just pros talking about Ember Rise, talking about the new season. It's also in different languages. It's in Portuguese, English, and Japanese. And you can sort of read through. Again, it's a similar sort of layout to the piece of content I mentioned before from CGG. But it's interesting to sort of read through and listen to what the pros have to say, from the operators to the map to even the new deployable shield design. Again, obviously, and those beloved pilot program skins, which everybody wants. But our bank accounts do not want, because there are too many and you can't have them all, but that's okay. Yeah, no, it's a really cool piece of content. If you want to read the entire piece of content, you can go over to siege.gg, click on the news tab, and you'll be able to read it. Dev, what is your host pick for tonight?
So I was just scrolling through Twitter and I found this adorable little comic, and it wasn't from one of the, there's a lot of Rainbow Six comic makers out there, and it wasn't from one of the ones that I, was frequenting, like Sausage and all them. So this one I decided to go with is just introducing Amaru to the rest of the team. The normal people like Ash, very, very normal looking. Buck, yes, Capitao. And then there should be one more on today's mission, and then it's Montaigne wearing the Rainbow is Magic uniform. I just... it just perfectly captures that. And... yeah, I love this. We get a little bit of insight into the characters of each of the operators. The identity of the characters, and that's persistent in the game, in their voice lines, in the shorts that are created when new operator seasons are released. Even the skins, that is an expression of the characters' identities. For those who don't know, Ember Rise, the new season actually updated all of the biographies of the operators in the game. So if you go over the operator tab, you select an operator, go down to the bio, it's actually now basically a novella. It's huge. You can read all about the history. There's a psychological evaluation from the Rainbow Six's leader, whose name is Harry. And that kind of building on the lore is something that I really love, and hopefully we'll get a bit more of that in the future with the battle passes mentioned to tie in a lot to the lore. And not everyone plays the game for the lore, but I think that even if you don't play the game for the lore, it can still bring something to you. And there are a lot of people who really create these amazing pieces of content based on that. So that's my host pick of the week, just because it gave me a serious chuckle. And I loved it. So that's all that we have on the program tonight. We've got, as you said, Pro League coming up this week, and that's really, I think, what we're all just anticipating, waiting for. Pro League is going to be absolutely hectic this week in APAC, because we'll find out which 8 teams will be proceeding to the APAC finals. By the way, you can go and actually get tickets to the APAC finals. Yes. It's going to be in Sydney at ESL Studio. I recommend you go to the ESL Rainbow Six Twitter page, and you can purchase tickets there. They're very cheap. It's not an expensive event, but they are likely to sell out. So I highly recommend, if you want to go and get your ticket really early, because the ESL Studios, it's not a very big venue, and you want to make sure that you get your ticket so that you can make it there to watch the best in not just Australia, but APAC, the best teams out of Japan, Korea, and Southeast Asia. And obviously cheer on the Australian teams so that they can make it to Tokoname, Japan. So, it's going to be a fantastic event, and we're all anticipating that. But first, we got Pro League this week. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow night on this channel and on the Rainbow Six channel, twitch.tv/Rainbow6. There's basically non-stop Pro League this entire week for APAC and the rest of the world as well. So make sure you tune into that. But that's all for the program tonight. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.